All right, what's
Okay.
up, everyone? It's
What's
Adventurous
up?
and this one was kind of a matter of international news, and I just so happen to know a guy from the little corner of the world that it affects. My
Yes.
good buddy Mason in the Dark is here. You can't see him because he is indeed in the dark.
I'm in black always. It's not just because I'm in mourning. No, see, I've already started. This is the problem, people. I don't have a serious bone in my body. Somebody came along at some point and they said, "There's all the serious bones. Let's take them out." So on a day like this, when everybody's supposed to be all somber and reflectful and respectful, it's just really hard for me.
Hey, that's exactly what we're all about here at Adventurous Publications. We put the fun in funeral.
Hey,
Oh,
you
God.
can't have slaughter without laughter.
I hate you guys so much.
Deal with it. Deal with it.
Ah.
So I'm going to share my screen here, and we're just going to go over some basic stuff about the death and do a little back and forth on this. You know, something that I think merits serious discussion is I understand why British people would care because obviously the monarchy is a huge part of your guys' history, and I mean, it obviously affects you guys the most. But something I've never understood is why Americans give so much of a shit about what's going on with the royal family. I've never understood. Like, oh, did you hear? Like, Prince such and such did this, or oh, Princess such and such. I'm like, why the fuck do we care? We fought a whole war, so we don't have to care.
I mean, people are going to hate me for saying this, but it's just a posh, like, keeping up with the Kardashians, isn't it? It's just,
Yeah.
oh, let's see what
Yeah.
wacky shit the royals have been up to this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's completely reasonable way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think most of the reason why is because we don't have anything like that. So, you know, people just kind of.
Well, that's
by
not
proxy.
true. We have the Kardashians.
Well, no, I mean, but they're they're not royalty though.
I mean, they think they are though.
I was about to.
I mean, but that's a perception in their own head though.
That's true. So yeah, just to do a little bit of the news read here. So for anyone who does not know, who might be coming to my channel for the first instance of this news, which God save you, man, that you intrepid son of a bitch, welcome. The Queen died at the tender age of 96. A lot of people thought she was going to make it to the big 100, but that is not the case.
Yeah.
It says here, large crowds gathered outside Buckingham Palace to mourn, blah, blah, blah. Her family gathered in Scotland to be by her side as she was croaking. Few Britons have known monarchs, so the end of Elizabeth's reign will be this momentous thing where there's new uncertainty, blah, 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 blah. King Charles going to release his statement on Friday. Live updates coming from people's Twitter accounts and such and such. I do want to get down and just read this statement from I think this is from Theresa May. In the United Kingdom and across the Commonwealth, we mourn the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Her Majesty devoted herself unreservedly to a life of service. She was respected and admired, not only by her own people, but far beyond our family of nations. As our longest reigning monarch, Her Majesty witnessed tremendous change, moving adroitly with the times, but always providing stability and reassurance. She was our constant throughout this great Elizabethan era. Era, not error. On the 75th anniversary of VE Day. Mason, what's VE Day?
No idea.
Fuck. Damn it, Mason.
You've got the least patriotic British person on to do a news story about like a big national Patreon.
You're the
thing.
only British guy
Okay.
I have, Mason.
Archive. Hello.
Okay.
I know, yeah.
Hi.
Why did we not just ask her?
Right.
By all means, Caitlin, fill me in.
World War II. It was May 8th, 1945. It was considered victory in Europe.
But what was the weather like?
Um,
And which way was the prevailing wind?
And who gave the primary speech, and what were they wearing?
it was a really long time ago. I've slept since then, so.
That's genuinely really, really funny.
We're here to talk about Queen Elizabeth's death.
We're here to talk about Queen Elizabeth's death. One of the most genuine laughs that I've ever done on this channel. Because
Oh
Kate just literally caused me to belly laugh.
You're welcome.
We're monsters.
Oh my God.
Listen, I do actually want to show my respect. It's sad, the same as anyone's mother or grandmother dying is.
Yes.
And obviously I do. Yeah, I do want to show my respect, but at the same time, it's just one of those. It's just one of those things. That unfortunately, I'm not a patriotic person, so I'm not gonna light a candle and change my Facebook profile picture to a Union flag. It's not
Right.
gonna happen.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's like, wasn't there that whole thing with Princess Diana? So let's not all sit here and pretend that the Queen was this spotless character that never had anything shady or potentially really fucked up happen that she was heavily associated with. Like, it's still we don't know for sure. We'll never know for sure. But it is entirely possible that the Queen just straight up had her daughter assassinated. So let's not sit here and pretend that the Queen was some spotless, squeaky clean character, a paragon of virtue or anything. Like,
Excuse me, MI6. I would like to distance myself from the statement that my fellow co-host just made. Listen,
yeah.
Zach, I'm in the area of which it's much easier to assassinate me. Okay, can you please be careful?
Well, let me just say that is my opinion entirely. I speak entirely for myself. I have no idea what Mason's views on that issue are, if he even has any. And yeah,
I really don't know that much about Diana, to be honest. You know, the weirdest thing for me about all of this, and I was saying this to Lee, maybe it's because we've had a queen since I was born, so it just seems really normal to me.
Mm-hmm.
But the weirdest thing about her dying is that we now have a king, and that sounds weird and fucking old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Like it just sounds weird. The King of England, like it's just.
Yeah.
I just feel like I've just traveled back in time 100 years or so.
Yeah. Things have definitely gone cattywampus. Well, I mean, because really, I think the takeaway from this is whatever you believe her, her hands to have been in, or, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. It's very serious to realize that basically a historical monument has burnt down.
Yeah, like I said that to Lee. Like, I think the strangest thing about it all is this historical moment just happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent the day recording the bleeding ground.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing with a lot of people. A common thing over here is where were you when the towers fell? That's a very common thing over here that people.
Another anniversary coming up for you guys.
Yep. And I was like 7 or 8 year old. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but my ass was parked in front of a TV watching cartoons. Like that's what I was doing when the towers fell. And I remember my dad came into the room and he looked very serious and he just kind of kneeled, and me and my sister were, like, what's wrong, Dad? And he was like, I got to tell you guys something very important. And we were like, what's wrong, Daddy? Is something wrong? Is everything okay? And he was like, everything's okay with us right now, but our country was just attacked, and some things might be changing very soon. And we were like, well, everything's okay right now, though. And he was like, yes. And me and Charlie were like, okay. And we went back to watching TV.
It's genuinely a really similar experience to what I had. I remember, and now I have a terrible memory for my early childhood. And bear in mind, me and Zach are about the same age. I distinctly remember coming home from school on that day, and I remember being really, really annoyed that I couldn't watch my after-school shows because I got back and Mum's watching like the news, and there's these like, all the somber, serious voices and the pictures of the towers burning and shit, and I'm just like, but why can I not watch the Queen's nose?
Right.
And I just remember being really mad that I couldn't watch my after-school shows.
Let me finish the statement really quick here. So, on the 75th anniversary of VE Day, Her Majesty reminded us to never give up, never despair. It was an address that captured not just the national spirit, but Queen Elizabeth's spirit. A sense of quiet determination, of courage, of faith, and of hope in the future. It was the honor of my life to serve her as Prime Minister, but we should never forget that our Queen was a mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. Our thoughts and prayers are now with her family. God save the King. Theresa May.
God save the King. And again, right? Surely she should have still just ended that with God save the Queen. Like, she's
Right.
not. She's been dead like 5 minutes, and you're
Yeah.
changing it to God save the King.
Yep.
Well, isn't that a matter? Isn't that how it's supposed to work, though? Like, you're supposed to say it's supposed to be applied to the current ruling figure. I thought that was the tradition.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about traditions, but it just seems
Yeah.
weird to me. Like, at least give it 24 hours.
I would
Yeah.
say until the end of the day. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be my thought.
But tradition takes precedent. So
as is tradition.
Yep, as is tradition, you have
As
to do
is
it
tradition.
properly. So if they die, then you have to, it's basically. So now it would be the Queen is dead. God save the King.
Yeah, and now the national anthem. We're gonna have to change the words.
Yep, gonna have to change it. Mm-hmm.
I mean, the song will stay the same, but that one word will change.
One word, and it's gonna be.
God damn it, guys!
Oh, we are not in Kansas anymore, Toto.
She reigned from February 52 to September 2022. Coronation was June 53. Now I'm done saying the things that are like official things that need to be stated. Like, that's the news. Fuck shit, guys, come on.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize. I thought you'd finished by the end of the God Save the King thing. That statement, by the way. That statement is so Theresa May. Like, as you were reading it, I could hear her voice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I actually, for once, believe that she 100% wrote that tweet herself because she wrote it in her narrative voice.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. So, yeah. Yesterday is now officially a whole other country, and all the borders are closed.
I mean, I wouldn't say that yesterday is a whole other country because the Queen died. Like, that's just the natural passage of time.
But it is actually the end of an era, though.
Yeah. Kate's technically right there because we now pass out of the Elizabethan area.
Yeah.
Area. I can speak. I'm just so grief stricken that I can't even speak.
Right, yeah. You can't even make words.
Ha 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 ha. And listen, I do understand what's being said by you guys, and it's technically right, but let's be real here. The monarchy doesn't have any real power, and especially outside of Britain, nothing's gonna fucking change. this doesn't change anything for me right now, and it doesn't change anything for me for the foreseeable future. Nor does it change anything for the average dude in Nigeria, nor does it change anything for the average dude in Norway or Australia or anywhere else that isn't Britain. Like, and even in Britain, it's probably going to be some just minor detail type stuff because the monarchy hasn't had any real power for a very long time.
In all seriousness, though, as much as I'm not patriotic, I did like in that statement it's saying about crowds gathering outside of Buckingham Palace, because it's like there's so much that divides us in the country at the minute, and it's just nice that in a time like this, people can just put aside any political differences that they might have and go gather around and show some respect for
that
a
is
figure that died.
That is one nice thing about having national traditions and national figures that maintain universal respect and appreciation. They provide a sense of national unity, and that really is important. Absolutely.
Yeah. Plus, it serves as a pretty good litmus test for whether there is actually hope for humanity or not. It's like, how many people actually still possess humanity enough to, like Mason said, basically drop everything for a second and just pay respect.
Yep.
The thing is, I genuinely don't know what happens now. I imagine there'll be some sort of national day of mourning. I imagine there'll be some sort of bank holiday or whatever. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus there will be a coronation. I imagine after his statement on Friday, he'll announce his coronation date. And then that'll happen. And
Yep.
Yeah.
It's also just weird that... go on.
I was just going to say, and what would be really interesting if now that he's king, if he began trying to return some power to the monarchy. I'd be very interested to see if he tries to do that.
I don't know if he can do that. I don't know about the workings of the palace and all that.
Right.
I do find it weird and kind of sad that, like, for her to die today means that, unless it just absolutely came out of nowhere, she can't have been doing well for the last week or so.
Yeah.
So one of her last actions was to sign in a new prime minister. And it just makes me think, like, I mean, on one hand, that does speak to, like the responsibility of being a monarch and stuff, because, she's feeling shit and she has to get visited at home by some person that's like, oh, I can't be prime minister until you sign me in, please. Will you sign me in? And on the other hand, it's just like, wow, like they couldn't leave her alone just for a little minute.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that is one of those things where I understand the whole the sentiment of you couldn't leave her alone and let her die in peace, but at the same time, everyone has their duty, and you can choose to rise to the duty and be remembered as someone who, even in your weakest, most faint moments, you rose to your responsibility, which is a noble and amazing thing. Or you can be remembered as someone who copped out and said, I'm in too much pain, or fuck off, this is my time to die, or whatever. And I'm not saying that you'd necessarily be demonized for it, but the fact that you did rise is really something good to be remembered for.
Yeah, I'll salute her for that.
Yeah.
For carrying out her duties right to the end.
Yep.
There's definitely something respectable about that, regardless of any unpleasantness or even outright bad things she may have been associated with. I do believe that she did have a sense of duty to her country and people. I think that's apparent by looking at her life. So God save the king, eh?
No, I'm still saying it. God save the Queen.
God save the Queen. That's
She had-
right.
Hope she had a gentle passing. I hope that those last couple of hours were as comfortable and as peaceful as they could possibly be.
Yep.
Fair enough.
And I hope that it was as nice as it can be, with all the family gathered round and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. This has been Team Adventurous. The Queen is dead. God save the Queen, as Mason says.
Yes.
God save the King, as I say. Doesn't really matter. My ancestors didn't fight a war. My family came over here after the Revolutionary War. God, my brain is full of fuck. My brain is being fucked by stupid. Anyways, this is Adventurous Publications. We are Team Adventurous. Welcome to the adventure.
Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da.